Page 22, Sonatina in G major. That's 1 sharp, all the F's are sharp. Common timer 4/4 time. Let's just take a look at each hand separately, make sure we got everything sort of under control. I'm not going to spoon feed you the notes. At this level you should be able to read the music and know what the notes are. But I want to point out a few of the things about it. In the right hand, now again, when I start to learn a piece of music, I always play it all connected. Everything legato, and I'll go back and put in the slurs and the staccatos later. But I want a fingering that helps me work it legato first. So at the beginning they got here, and you're coming in on beat 3. So we have a pickup beat, so it's 3 and 4 and. 4. I'll put in that little note later. Just right now I'm only playing the big notes. And then on measure 4 you gotta lift up. That helps between, you lift up between phrases anyway, so this is fine. And then on measure 7, cross over, 2nd finger. And I recommend on measure 8 use 2/5. I mean, you were just there on measure 7, just do that. That's all it is. Just stay there. There's no reason to use thumb on that F sharp. I disagree with that fingering. And then you quarter rest to come back up. And then measure 11. If they say 2, 1, 2, that's okay. You can also, if you'd rather, you can use 3, 1. But the idea is keep the thumb on the B. So whether you use 2 or 3 on the C sharp, it's up to you. 2nd finger on the A sharp is okay. That works out well. So it's, and then you do that some more. Now go on. Measure 12. The last 2 beats is. And again, same fingering as before. Rest. Now saying 2 at measure 16 for the 8th notes. I like 1. To me, that's just an easier fingering. I mean, the first beat in measure 16 is going to be with 3rd finger, but you got a quarter rest. You can use any finger you want after that. I like 1 on that. So 4th. Using 2 makes sense because you're not moving your hand around. Because you're here. You're just staying in this position. Because after measure 19 you're doing that, then measure 20 you're back to what you were doing at the beginning. And that's the fingering for your 2nd finger. So if you want to stay with 2nd finger, fine. But I also think thumb is fine too. Because then when I get to measure 20, I can play the first note with thumb, because that's where it is. And then I can scratch up and go back to the fingering I would use 5th finger. And then I'm ready. Different ways of fingering it, you decide, or your teacher will decide for you. So 4th, let's go down to the bottom. Well, it'd be measure 27. You're ending the first here, and then you lift up, go up. The thumb. So 4th, left hand. Left hand just got the Alberti bass going. Here. Measure 3, those are half notes. I don't know why they're half notes, but they are. And there I do a 5, hold it down, and then a 4. That's tricky to do. A lot of times when we play Alberti bass, we will finger pedal the first note. That is, we'll hold the first note down because it's an important note. I mean, I could do that on all of them. It's done sometimes, and it's a way of interpreting things. You can experiment with it and see if you like the sound, because we're not using pedal on this, I hope. I mean, considering the time when it was written, this is probably more for harpsichord than piano. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing it could be. Half notes, and then again you get the same passage over on measure 20 on page 23. It's here. Then when you get to that, those are not half notes. But But that makes sense too, because a lot of times when they get the same passage in different places, they'll change it, especially the last time it occurs. And this is the last time it occurs, so they'll change it somehow. However, you could still finger pedal those, I think. You have to experiment with the sound, but that all comes later. After you've learned the piece and you're comfortable with it and you're not thinking about notes and rhythms and fingering and all that, and you get into the music, and that's when the interpretation starts happening, and that's when you experiment with finger pedaling thing. Do I like that sound or not? That comes later. Right now, just play it exactly the way it's written. Don't interpret anything. Now watch out, they throw you a couple curves in the left hand here, a couple spots. On measure 7, you have the half notes. You're in this position. You play the half notes here. But measure 8, you got to come down here. So I suggest the first eighth note or half note is fine. Then the second half note, play it with the thumb. That way you're in position to go on. So forth. Over on page 23. On measure 26, they threw you a curve. You're starting out down here. You can hear. Now it's a D. You'd think about it. Because all the others, it's the same note. The thumb plays the same note twice. But they don't. It's a D. So there, watch out on that one. It's a little different. Then we put the hands together. I go kind of fast, so the video doesn't last as long. You go as slow as you gotta go, because the idea is you gotta get the beat where it's steady, no hesitations anywhere. So if that goes, and that means really, really slow, that's fine. Go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. Just no hesitations. You work those out, and then when you can get the hands together, then I add the articulation, the slurs and staccatos. Short staccato. I'm just right at the wrist. The left hand is all legato. Just connect everything. And now also, I'll add the little notes. If there's ornamentation and things in it, now I'll add it at this time. So that little note, it's like they give you the little notes written out above to help you out. It's played like an eighth note, and it's played on the beat. So it's here. With the 2 eighth notes in the left hand, it goes along with it. So then that measures. So it just goes right in. There's 3 notes there. Into the note of the next measure is what I'm saying. About these slurs. You don't always lift up before and after a slur. You have to consider the situation. In this piece, I would not lift up before and after every slur, like at the beginning. Now I would slur all those notes together. Here, and the same thing going on, I would slur these together. Like so. Gets to interpreting it again. So, because you could, when they don't give you a slur, you could lift up between the notes. On measure 3, now those notes, slur those together. Those little notes. However, I find that very choppy. I don't care for that sound, so I connect these slurs together in most cases. So go in and add all the articulation, the staccatos and the slurs, however you see it. On page 23, second line there on measure 23, you have that little note again. It's played the same way as the first time. Exactly the same way. Then we talk about the dynamics. MF, mezzo forte, it's for the melody. It's the right hand. Keep this left hand in the background. And that can be hard to do sometimes, because when you're so busy with all these notes, you'll just tend to play it louder. So you have to make sure and make an effort Keep that left hand soft. What do you think moderately loud is? It's not loud, it's just sort of loud. I'm playing the left hand soft. And then the second line there, I'll measure 4, and you're going to crescendo a little bit up to loud. Just a little bit here. Keep the left hand in the background. Then I measure 8. Now you're soft. And they get a little crescendo or decrescendo there and measure 9. Just come down a little bit. Because the tendency is going to want to. And no, they want it softer. Keep it down. You stay soft pretty much until the end of the, or until measure 18 or so. You're not going to stay right at soft level. You're going to get a little louder and softer. After you get to know it and you get to feel in the music, you can go up to medium soft and back down. And you're in the area of soft. Well, when you get over to measure 18, they want you to come down. Wherever you were, come down to sort of this is a bridge, what we call a bridge. It's just a few measures of fluff to connect two sections together. I don't want to get into form too much about exposition and recapitulation and all that junk. But the point is, all of these little things from measure 16 on to measure 20, those 4 measures, this is just a bridge. It's just... It doesn't really have any melody to it. It's just kind of fluffing around. And at the end of that, you're dying away. And you can, as part of the interpretation, you can actually slow down a little bit. It's a way of interpreting the music. So, and then we come back to the melody again. And of course we take off. Now there's a little thing about slowing down and resuming speed. Most of the time, not all, most of the time, when you slow down like that, and then you're going to take off again, you won't just suddenly take off again. So it's... No, you'll actually speed up, but you'll do it fairly quickly. You only take a beat or two to speed up, but it isn't instant. It's not subito. There, even if it's at all tempo, you'd still take just a beat or two to speed up, to blend into it. So forth. That's just another interpretive thing I throw in there occasionally. Then we talk about the speed, or the style, or the mood, or whatever. It all kind of goes together. It's marked allegro, and in between the stab it says dolce. Dolce is sweetly. So, sweetly, but be quick about it. It has to be accurate, it has to be controlled. All the eighth notes have to be even, so don't go beyond that. So everybody's going to have a different allegro. May have a different dolce, I don't know. It depends on how much coffee I've had or what time of day it is. Please don't copy me. You make it yours, you play it yours, at your speed and your interpretation. I'd play this 10 times, I'd play it different every time. Because I like to play around with interpretations. I like to experiment, try different things out each time I play it. How do I like this? And then if I perform it for someone, I don't experiment so much. Now I'm trying to do different things I did when I was experimenting that I liked, and I kind of put them together. I like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do the dynamics, and we are going to go really, really, really slow. So I'll give us 2 counts because we come in on beat 3. Ready and go and. Rest, rest.